The mighty Thunder Down Under saves Padme with prototype powers from Two-Face and his merry band of No-Face troopers in today's episode of The Thor and Loki Show. When I watched the original Thor, one of my main qualms with the film was how earthly and mundane Thor's outing was. What I wanted was more of the fantastical Asgard and less of this deified thunder god straight out of Superman 2. Well, JabberTalkers, I have to eat my words, because having spent over 80% of this film in a dimly lit cavalcade of special effects madness, I have to admit that I kind of miss some of that earthly, mundane charm that Branagh instilled in the first movie. That's not to say that there isn't an entertaining, admirably orchestrated grand opera unfolding on the big screen. The humor-filled Earth scenes in the final and the first acts of the movie are largely entertaining, and any scene with Tom Hiddleston's Loki immediately enraptures you. Asgard itself is also finally a believable, realistic world that you can be immersed in, opposed to the first film, where the movie was more of an impractical, beautiful bauble. The narrative itself is largely a mishmash of sci-fi, sci-fantasy franchises. Overall, this is a largely lighthearted, swashbuckling epic adventure, an amalgamation of Stargate and actually like Star Wars Episode 1, except with the latter only the good parts. That's a bad example. Kind of loses its footing in the second act, but regains it when it unleashes, literally, its best trick up its sleeve, Loki. And let's be honest, what we're all waiting for is the Thor and Loki show. When the tepid, intrepid duo finally, and they do make us wait, I mean finally, when they finally pair up, it provides a much needed shot of a much needed shot to the heart and funny bone of some good adrenaline and energy and fun. These two together are lightning in a bottle, and that's important for Thor's character, who often veers far too close to Superman levels of character blandness. With Loki at his side, Thor's charm, his bravado, his ego, they come out and they present themselves, and that's really important to giving Thor that touch of humanity. And Loki, he is as scene-stealing as ever. Even when it's not actually Hiddleston playing him, but another famous face from Marvel's prestigious stable of actors, because Loki is putting on one of his illusions. But I'm not ruining that cameo for you. Sadly, during the movie's 2-hour running time, some sacrifices had to be made, and in this case that included Eccleston's character, in which much of his character development, was unfortunately left on the cutting room floor. This leaves us with a villain that we never truly connect with, and antagonists that, in spite of being so aesthetically unique, serve as little more than a plot device and fodder for Thor's hammer. My favorite moment in the movie, it's a moment of levity with the two brothers sharing and reminiscing and just laughing together. And then Thor, in a pang of regret, he turns to Loki and he says, "I wish I could trust you." And as his gaze veers off, for a second, for a brief moment, you see Thor's guard lower and Loki's mask come off. And we as an audience are able to peer into the window of the world, the life that these brothers might have had if things had been different. This highlights the amazing chemistry between Hiddleston and Hemsworth, and the potential, should this franchise delve deeper and further into their complexity and interplay, for these two to be one of the all-time great on-screen duos. It's certainly more compelling than the perfunctory romance between Jane and Thor. I mean, Batman and Superman, forget that. I want Loki versus Thor. And while there are many things to commend him on, I can't help but feel that the perfect Thor film is still out there. A perfect blend of both the Branagh charm that came with the scenes on Earth, which made Thor likable, and the epic world-building fantasy brought about by Alan Taylor. And if Marvel keeps Taylor in the franchise, I have no doubt we will get that truly great classic Thor film, worthy of The god of mischief and the god of thunder clashing. Loki versus Thor. Or the Thor and Loki Show. Thor Thunder God and the Mischief Kid. Days of Thunder God. Mischief and Thoring in Las Vegas. Now. Okay, Jabber Talkers, I would have to say that this movie is Jabber worthy. I'd give it a solid 7 out of 10. Seeing Thor and Loki together on screen is worth the price of admission alone. Just stay through the whole credits. 2 post-credit scenes. Let me know what you guys thought of this movie. Let me know what your favorite Marvel franchise film is, and if you like this movie better than the original Thor. Like, share, leave a comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. I'm not in a gaming mood. When do we begin?